24/7, 365. The number 2 internet radio program according to TalkStreamLive.com. This is the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show.
Welcome back to our big broadcast. We are coast to coast and border to border on AM/FM, 247.com. Tune in, iTunes. Radio Loyalty, 50-plus AM/FM stations across the fruited plain. And, of course, 24/7 on iHeartRadio. And our website is JiggyJaguar.com. JiggyJaguar.com. Found our app. Yes, people are finding our app, and it's in the app stores, iPod and Google Play. Check out JiggyJaguar.us for more information. Check out uncensored content over there on our YouTube channel. Of course, you can get that through our website, JiggyJaguar.com. Let's tell you about one of our fantastic new marketing partners at Transmedia Worldwide, Kickstarter.com. KICKSTARTER.com. /272-491-84/the-women's-jeans-AIELOWU-Jenny (REF equals 9TPVKE). We'll give you a little bit more details about that, how to find it a little bit more easier here in just a few moments. Live Lived has launched. It's a brand new Kickstarter campaign for their unique and innovative Jenny women's jeans. Most jeans, which are designed for women, are crafted only to make fashion statements and not to provide comfort. Fashion designers are mostly focused in providing women with their new trending styles. For example, legging jeans, distressed jeans, and other brands. No brand is offering a woman a combination of style and comfort, thereby ignoring personal hygiene and other needs which women require. Luckily, Live Lived has come with jeans which feature this golden combination. Hallelujah, Jenny. That is pronounced as, I love you, Jenny. Provides women with both style and comfort, especially when it comes to restroom affairs. The primary goal of Hallelujah, Jenny is to make the prospect of women wearing jeans a simple and easy task. The patented jeans have been designed with an opening flap at the front, and it is secured with zippers, which go to the rear. Hence, women don't need to bring down their jeans while they're using the restroom. The flap contains another butterfly flap on the interior, which is used to cover the whole crotch area. The butterfly flap has been designed with an antimicrobial padding, which serves the whole crotch area. The purpose of the underwear, it can be effectively used with adhesive panty liners, hence there is no need of wearing underwear. However, Hallelujah Jenny can be paired with strapless panties if need of wearing underwear. A woman desires all these great comforts, so they will be still assured of convenience and comfort. Hallelujah Jenny has been specifically designed to suit the female anatomy. It can be worn anywhere, anytime, and it offers great convenience and comfort while traveling, hiking, camping, trekking, etc. It is recommended for daily use, and regardless of the time of the month, the jeans make it easier for women to attend to personal hygiene needs, like changing menstrual cup or tampons in areas with limited privacy. Check it out today. This product can be worn by women of all professions. The all-inclusive jeans are also suitable for the women with disabilities, while the space-age-inspired design feature makes them suitable for those women who man space stations. For more information regarding the campaign, it can be found on Kickstarter. Check out KICKSTARTER.com. Search the future of women's jeans. AIELOW Jenny. And that's JEANNIEY. And tell them, you heard about it here. Transmedia Worldwide. We've got a great guest. Okay, we're going to actually get our guest on the line after that 4-minute spot. Good Lord. We get Dr. James in here. And I believe there's Dr. James. How are you, my friend? It's James Lowe from iHeartRadio, calling you for your radio interview. How are you, sir?
Okay, how are you, James?
Pretty good, actually. Welcome to the broadcast. First of all, give us a little bit on your background, my friend.
Well, I write for Newsmax.com and have for about 20 years, and I'm also a lawyer, and I tend to write a combination of, say, law and cultural analysis.
Fantastic, fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on Skype audio, and fairly recently you wrote an article, Rebel Comics, Rock, Seinfeld, Alan Miller, and Brooks speak out. Tell us a little bit about these, because there's a lot of comics that are having issues performing on college campuses and some of these places across the country. Tim Allen had a very popular show that was canceled by ABC. Dennis Miller, famed comedian, is having issues with college campuses. Tell us a little bit about some of these comics and them speaking out.
Well, the thing is, what comics are reacting to is this culture of political correctness, and you see it beginning to manifest itself in very strong ways on college campuses, which led to Jerry Seinfeld announcing that he would no longer perform on college campuses, and Chris Rock followed suit. But what kind of prompted my article was that Jerry Seinfeld has a very successful webcast called Comedians in Cars Having Coffee.
Yes.
And you're probably familiar with it.
Yes, indeed.
And he changed formats, outlets, and he went to Netflix. And when he did so, all of a sudden he was being urged by various media outlets to become woke. And we know that wokeness and woke is this term used essentially for people to describe waking up to hating the President of the United States. That's what it tends to be. But and waking up to in their view, the meddling by Russia, and somehow the president's election was illegitimate, and all this entire laundry list of stuff that CNN and MSNBC specialize in. And Seinfeld ignored these calls, and he kept doing, what's that called? Comedy. And he kept focusing on entertainment. And because of that, he's got backlash in the social media, and the social media has become a place for people that have technical proficiency to pretend like they're a crowd. So they set up a bunch of bots. They create boiler rooms that have a gathering of people that are able to send out hundreds of thousands of tweets, and they've been finding out that this is a way they can even influence corporations. So they set out and started hitting Jerry, and a conservative media outlet posted an article saying that Seinfeld's show, Comedians in Cars, is a welcome respite from the insufferable wokeness of comedy. And they're referring insufferable wokeness as a way to describe this hyper-political correctness that we're seeing. So Chris Rock then sees that article, and he retweets the link to the article, and he receives a social media shellacking for that.
Yes.
And he wrote, "Thank God for Jerry." So it brought up this whole issue of political correctness being an enemy of creativity, but particularly an enemy of comedy. Comedy has an element of truth in it, and as George Orwell said, political correctness at its peak, essentially what it is forbidden truths. There's certain things that we can't talk about anymore. They're taboo. There's a whole host of sitcoms. You think of Archie Bunker, you think of Sanford and Son, all those Norman Lear kind of product could not be on TV. And we even don't have to go back that far. You go back 5 years and look at sitcoms. And the reason Last Man Standing, Tim Allen's show, was canceled is because of its content. because that show was a top sitcom. It had 2 Emmy Awards nominations. It was in a tough time slot. There is no way that any rational network would cancel that show. It is so hard to get a hit show. People,
yes.
In the television industry, they have thousands of TV ideas submitted. Out of those, there are hundreds of television pilots. Out of those, a small handful come on television in the fall, which is coming up in the opening of television season. And out of those, the vast majority fail. So when a network has a show that's been on for 6 seasons and stayed on top, there's not a network executive that would ever cancel that show. That show was canceled because it had politically incorrect content. And to prove how irrational it was, Fox Television picked up the show, and it's going to be on in the fall, and I'm sure it's going to have huge numbers, even bigger than it did before.
We've got a great guest with us today, joining us on Skype audio, Dr. James Hirchen, and he recently wrote a fantastic article about comedians and the climate that is out there. I know that a lot of the left-leaning comedians, they tend to do these late-night comedy shows where they're just basically just beating up the president over the head with a bat, it seems, every single night, and these audiences just howl for it. What do you make of some of the late-night comedians?
Well, that's a great subject, all in and of itself. I think that generally speaking, not all the time, but generally speaking, what's happened on late night and typified by people like Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, they no longer write to get laughs. They write to get applause instead of laughs. And it's kind of like, Samantha Bee, who has a weekly late night show, had this moment where she referred to Ivanka Trump as part of the human anatomy, the worst insult you can say to a woman. And the reaction in that moment was applause. No laughs, because it wasn't funny. Calling a woman that is not funny, the C word, but that's the kind of thing you see often on late night because of the fact that laughter is a very unique human response. If you go down to an open mic in your city near you, and when they have open mics, and typically, people will play acoustic guitar and sing their songs, and you'll hear applause for every performer, even performers which it is almost torture to listen to, and that's because applause is something we do willfully, voluntarily, and we'll do it out of pity, but laughter is a spontaneous thing. And really, it can't be faked. I mean, if fake laughter sounds different than real laughter. And so when comedians talk about going out on a stage and having a bad night, they speak of it in terms of the end of life. They say, I died, because the sound of crickets is so painful. And so what's happened is, on late night, which, when I think of late night, and many people do, they see the reruns of Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson felt like a family member. It was this party. It was so happy. People were laughing through the whole show. And it was real laughter. And it was creative humor writing. And he had a huge audience. I mean, and we can go back. We can talk about, even Steve Allen, who was the father of late night. And this type, comedy has sort of devolved. And certainly late-night comedy really has. Stephen Colbert's audience is maybe 20% of what Carson's was. And what's happened is the networks, because of digital technology, have given up on a general big audience and instead have taken the same business plan as the Rachel Maddow show. In other words, you get a niche market, which is a tiny minority of the country, actually, but they're very motivated to hate on President Trump, and they love to watch a show dedicated to that hate. And so the studio audience and the people who are watching are this smaller niche group, and it's not the same kind of programming, and it's not funny. Predictable comedy is unfunny comedy. I know what Stephen Colbert is going to do before he does it. It's tedious and boring.
Yes.
So I preferred stupid pet tricks when David Letterman did that. I prefer Jay Leno, who worked like a dog to get his monologue funny. He even went into local comedy clubs and tried out jokes. He was a workaholic. And so what we have today is a completely different medium, and it's kind of sad. And they won't talk about certain subjects. They will not discuss incredibly important subjects and funny subjects. I mean, come on. Is Nancy Pelosi not funny? She's funny without even trying. And they never, they don't really go both directions like Johnny Carson did. So it's kind of a sad devolution of a very important art form, and it's dangerous in the sense because the hyper-political correctness inhibits creativity and speech. And if you have it on a college campus, I mean, that's the place where we want to foster creativity, and yet we have this hyper-political correctness that limits it.
We've got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on Skype audio, Dr. James Hirchen. And another topic I want to stick with this comedian situation. What do you make of Bill Maher and some of the recent comments where he's made various comments, and he's had a lot of times his audience turn on him, and he ends up having to having to fight him back sometimes. What do you make of this?
Yeah, that's, Bill, because Bill has said things about free speech and gone against this concept that now the new left really hasn't embraced, and that is that their idea of free speech is just speech they agree with. If you disagree with them, you shouldn't have free speech, and then it's manifested in the tech companies and things like that. I know Bill very well. I was a regular on his old show on ABC on Politically Incorrect and talked to him many times. I think Bill's in a little bit of a trap because he's set up his show similarly to Colbert. I mean, the studio audience, and kind of it's always, even back on ABC it was like this, but even more so now, Bill's general viewing audience and studio audience has expectations, and they expect him to toe the line. And so if he goes the Kanye West route, I mean, he could really harm his career. And so, but in those rare moments when he actually does push back on the politically correct stuff, you'll hear the audience will boo him. And I'm sure he doesn't like that.
We've got a great guest with us today. Dr. James Hirchen joins us here on Skype audio. And but before we let you go, Doctor, how do people get a hold of you online and read your columns and everything else?
Well, I'm active on the social media. I have a Facebook page, and my name is spelled, my first name is just like yours, James. But my last name is Hirchen, but it's spelled Hirsen. So they look up James Hirchen on Facebook, Twitter. They'll find me. And I have my own website, jameshirsen, HIRSEN.com, and on newsmax.com.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you making time for us, and thanks for coming on and talking about this very great subject. Thank you, Doctor. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day.
All right, you too, James. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. There goes Dr. James Hirchen. We are going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we have got more coming up. It is the world-famous Cheeky Jaguar radio broadcast. Oh, coming up here in a few moments, we've got my little tribute to Thomas Lamb. We'll talk about that coming up here on the program.